Huge thank you to Assassin's Creed for sponsoring this video. I also want to give you all a spoiler warning because in this video we're going through the entirety of AC Mirage's DLC, so just keep that in mind. Alright, so in today's video I got every single trophy on the brand new Assassin's Creed Mirage DLC that just dropped called Valley of Memory. This is the newest addition to the Assassin's Creed world, and when Mirage first came out I made a banger video on it, which I had a ton of fun in the game. So if you haven't seen that, then make sure to check it out. But also, if you haven't played Mirage before, Assassin's Creed Mirage is just $15 right now, and it includes 6 more hours of gameplay in the new Valley of Memory update, which is also a free DLC with the main game's purchase. And you can check that out with the link in this video's bio. But aside from that, Valley of Memory surrounds Basim's character arc before the ending of the game, chasing down his father in a new area outside of where the main game takes place. And it took me about 9 or 10 hours to 100% this trophy list, and it was pretty straightforward. There is 11 more trophies to get, and absolutely nothing is missable. Now, most of them are collectibles, and one of the trophies is honestly very hard to do. However, it is also a lot of fun. The trophy I'm talking about, by the way, is called Playback, unlocking all of the Animus sequence rewards. This took me alone like 4 hours to do, so yeah, before that, let's go through the actual DLC and all that goes down inside of it. So starting off, you're going to want to just initiate the DLC to begin with, and since this was a free update in DLC, you get notified almost immediately upon entering the game after the download. And it's also on the investigation board screen with directions if you missed the little notification. But essentially, you need to meet up with Dervis at his fence, and if you've already played through the game, utilizing nearby fast travel makes getting there easy as pie. Cream pie. But once talking to Dervis, the two go back and forth, and we learned that Dervis got given a painting which looked like one of Basim's belongings from when he was a boy. That same painting also illustrated a home from his childhood, and it was from, again, a place called Alula, which is where Basim's father said he would go with him when he was old enough to make the journey. Now, all of these puzzle pieces added up, and it implemented a little bug inside of Basim's head that his father was there and alive. So that's why the two then go to Alula and begin the journey today of Basim hunting down his father. Anyways, once you do arrive in the fated location of today, the first goal is to head over to the cemetery. What a wonderfully pleasant intro location. But we are obviously here to see if Papa is just, you know, dead. Maybe this journey won't last that long after all. However, once we did begin to snoop around the graveyard like Ed Gein, if you know, you know, we end up bumping into a woman in distress, a damsel even. Her name is Hind, and she pretty much just tells us that her husband passed away. Tragic. I am crying because I feel deep emotion. That's what my therapist has been trying to convince me. The Fortnite Platinum Trophy has been ruining my life like the last month. I'm not gonna lie, it's bad. But low-key, playing this game today from the legend at Ubisoft was one of the best palette cleansers ever, and again, you can get it with the link below, and I highly recommend it. Anyways, while escorting Hind back to her house because Basim is just that nice of a guy, we end up finding out that her place is in the middle of getting ransacked by the evil people of this area. Just a bunch of bad gooners. Our goal wasn't to kill them all, but rather just retrieve her husband's valuables, and I did end up killing a few, but they got in the way. It's not my fault, I swear. But back to getting husband's valuables, all you have to do is get a key off of an enemy, then use it on a chest, and bada boom, mission accomplished. I then returned to Hind once more, gave her the painting, and then we followed her to Nimlot's house. And Nimlot is like this outsider rich guy who gives safe havens to people, I guess. A short camel ride later, we then arrived. And this is also the place that Hind stays at all game. Now, I'm mentioning her a lot because the rarest trophy in this game, called Lost and Found, is from returning a bunch of stolen goods to her, and we will talk more about that later. For now, I then went back to the store, and it sends us off to the market to ask around about Basim's papa, or daddy if you were raised like that. Long story short, we did not find anything to use in the market. Instead, you end up chasing down a robber, and he turned out to be in with all of the bad guys, leading us right into a trap. And then poor Basim got caught and sent to prison. I now introduce you all to the prison arc of AC Mirage, Valley of Memory.
Come over here and kiss me on my hot mouth.
One of the most unique gameplay scenes I've ever seen in an Assassin's Creed game do. You're literally just stuck in a prison, and it's not a quick exit. For the first few days, you're just genuinely stuck while learning more about how the prison works, the level of intensity the guards have, the guards' own complaints of the place, and everyone just kind of rants about how bad it is. Also, this warden or dude running the place and how cruel he is. And we see this cruelty ourselves when he tortures the man in the cell right next to us. Fly high, brother. Fly high.
I love you, bitch.
And after multiple days of imprisonment, however, the kitchen girl comes to see us because she recognized our face. And this same girl we also did save a little bit earlier, so she was kind of like in our debt, I guess. And she manages to speak to us for a moment or two, mentioning where the key is kept at that controls all of the doors in the room. You then have a cool scene where you control the bird that assists us in this game, swooping all the way down and grabbing the key and then flying back with it to get us out of the cell. Now once outside of our cell, now that we have the master key of sorts, you go about releasing prisoners to help us escape because we don't have our full getup of equipment. And this is kind of the main mechanic I used in the prison because I was afraid to combat the mean guards on my lonesome. I also did die or get seen a few times, which I then had to restart. It's trial and error, okay? It's been a minute since I played this game. Don't judge me. It hurts my feelings, please. But fast forward into the final area of this prison of sorts, you end up in a large room which is absolutely jam-packed full of enemies. And at this point I also did have quite a few tools I had gathered, so reaching the final door wasn't that bad actually. And once going through a cutscene then played and it showed us sneak up right behind the prison master guy, some conflict goes down and we pretty much just both end up getting a knife right in the body, which also popped me the first trophy of the DLC. However, the prison master's knife was laced with I think fentanyl, and if I'm wrong, correct me in the comments. So this made Basim trip balls and I pretty much just stumbled my way out of the prison with the goal of running all the way back to Dervis because he is the only one who can save us now. Daddy Dervis, if you will. But you end up passing out before reaching him. Thankfully, some civilians saw us and then brought us to him. There's some medical mastercraft that goes on and you end up just fine. So we can officially start our hunt for Daddy again. Also, I got a trophy from escaping prison in general, which popped right here. That first trophy I did get, by the way, was from not getting caught in prison. And I forgot to mention that's why I was also using the other inmates to attack for me. My apologies. It's been a while since I made a video for real. Anyways, the story then leads us to a more impactful mission this time, having us search the house our father allegedly stayed in. And as you could guess, it actually was his house, but he was not there. Instead, just a lot of enemies to fight. But what we did learn was that the bad guys in this area stole our father and have him hostage. So that kind of becomes the goal of the DLC, to rescue Daddy. Hell yeah. First though, we chased down the initial robbers of his house for some more clues as to where they were keeping him, but this led us on an hour-long goose chase going from robber camp to robber camp until ultimately we had to free this fellow robber prisoner from his confinement because he was a quote-unquote traitor. My guy, am I right? Anyways, he told us that Daddy was up in the tower of the Roman fort nearby. And this is actually the final fort of the DLC that we need to infiltrate. And in doing so, they made it very, very hard. I love you, Ubisoft. I actually do need a challenging thing in games nowadays. My brain has become complete mush with not going to school anymore. Shout out to the Its Ilusion YouTube viewers. Drop a like and subscribe on God. So back to infiltrating the fort, the way I went about it was running to the left and spotting this wall that can be blown up by those explosive barrel things. And those explosive barrels you need are also placed right below us. They are surrounded by enemies, however. So you just have to take them all out and then grab the barrel and then run back up the edge of the wall. And make sure you aim good so you don't miss completely and have to redo this. After that, you then reach the interior of the fort, and low-key I had no clue what to do here, so this part took me a while. But long story short, there was another breakable wall on the right side of the interior fort, and to break into it you have to find again an explosive vase thing. This time they are hidden a bit more, but they are still pretty easy to find. They're just back near where you start, and you have to break this wooden floor to drop down into it. Then grab the barrel and head all the way over, throw it. Again, make sure to aim well or else you will receive the fate that I have. Failure. Worse than death. But speaking of death, I also did die, so I guess I'm just a complete loser. Holy shit. But yeah, once I did bring my fire vase, or heat and fire, back to the place, I threw it so accurately, and then we are once more into the interior of the interior fort. This time the goal was far more simple. Just find the key to enter the tower to get to where the old man, who we are pretty sure is Daddy, is at. And getting the key was very easy, just got it from an enemy, and then I entered the God Forbidden Tower, and inside there was none other than Nimlot, who, if you remember, we thought was a good guy from the beginning of the game. What a traitor. First, he knows we have daddy issues, and then he hides our daddy from us. I feel betrayed. So yeah, we brutally killed him. Nobody keeps daddy from me. However, this old man had no recollection of us. I mean, he does, but the guy is so old, he doesn't really understand what's happening. And that brings us to the final story arc, saying goodbye to Daddy. For clarification, this old guy is Basim's dad, but he's so old he doesn't really have his mind anymore. And we sort of just help him on to reach his final destination, being a landmark he really wanted to go to with Basim. And there is a final talk that is low-key very emotional. I love how he went from murdering an evil man to just crying. This DLC slaps, on God. But here's that final encounter for you all with Daddy.
Tell my little Basim. Tell him one day, when his time comes, we will be together again. Until then, he has a life to live. Tell him that, if you see him.
I will tell him.
So, you have a smile after all.
No, Daddy, no, don't walk away. So yeah, that's that. The DLC then ends off with a fade to black and a fast travel to Durbus wrapping it up, and here's that trophy pop. So clearly we do not have all of the trophies, and that's because the remaining ones are mostly just from doing the activities within each territory. First though, I did get a quick trophy from just replaying a sequence, which is something we'll have to do a lot later on at the end of the game. Now I did not finish the sequence because it's hard. But back to the main game, I also got the other trophy in this DLC list that isn't collectible, and it was called Taste Your Own Medicine from Poisoning a Poisoner. I don't know if that's grammaring, but hey, it's fine. Also, shout out to this forum I found with a dude saying what to do because I did not know what to do. But the poison guy I got this trophy from was up at the top of the map and he was at an outpost. So I fought him with one of the poison swords I have, and after poisoning him, that gave him the trophy. Easy peasy. Now for the next hour or so, I did just go into every activity in the territories of this game. There isn't that many, to be honest, and it wasn't really that hard at all. So here's the first trophy I got from listening to all of the folk tales. Then I got the trophy from collecting all of the melodies, and finally I got the trophy from just general completion of all of the new territories in the game. Again, these are just all collectibles for the most part. However, the final collectible trophy called Lost and Found from returning all of the stolen goods to Hind did not pop. And this is because, you know, while at this point you would have collected all the stolen good clues, you then have to find the stolen goods using the clues. And it's safe to say your boy's brain is not working that hard. So I actually did manage to thankfully find a map for them on the internet web of the world. Shout out to whatever shadow person made this, and then I did manage to track them all down. I returned them to Hind, and upon my last one I got the trophy pop right here. Thank God for internet people saving my little white ass. But with all of those finished with, then I had only 2 trophies left: Perfect Memory and Playback, both relating to finishing and getting nearly every challenge completed in the sequence page of the new anime sequence section of the game. Now this is the new feature that came with the free DLC, and it basically just consists of about 20 or so new sequences to play, and these are pretty much just mission replays from the main and DLC's key or best missions. But there is a catch, that being the challenges aspect that all of them have. Now not every challenge is hard on these, and for the most part the contracts are the easiest compared to the story replay ones. So easy, I actually managed to get one all the way completed with right here with that trophy popping. And that's basically how I went about completing almost all of these for the trophy regarding the rewards. You also don't need to complete every single challenge on every single replay mission, but you do need to for almost all of them, so you should try and do all of them anyways. I started first by doing the contracts because, as I said, they are far easier and faster than the story replay ones. And after doing all of those, I went through and played each of these story replays, and I found which ones I thought were the easiest. Then I did them to my best ability. Some tips I have for the challenges is to make full use of your tools, especially the noisemakers and blow darts, and if you can, obviously the daggers. A lot of the challenges though don't let you kill people, but hey, if you can, just go ape crazy, bro. But like I said, this just takes a lot of time. It's pretty hard. However, after replaying them enough, you get the hang of it. The methods in it shouldn't be impossible. Upon my last challenge completion and the final point I needed towards the 93 marker, I got it. And then the trophy pop, finishing off the AC Mirage Valley of Memory trophy list. So yeah, that was the Valley of Memory experience. I actually had a lot of fun doing this despite it being quite challenging, and once more I want to say a huge thank you to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. You guys genuinely did make a great DLC pack, and the fact that it's free is just more reason to get the game to begin with, but also to play it again if you already have Mirage. And again, it's on sale right now for just $15. You can get straight to the page with the link below, and thank you all for watching this video. Fortnite Platinum next, I promise. Okay, bye. I hate Fortnite. Download AC Mirage. Okay, bye for real.